Alright, this is making your own tips, soldering tips that is, for a Weller 100-140. And I'd highly recommend you get a newer one of these. Oh, wrong. I highly recommend you get an older one of these. The newer ones are really cheesy. They don't have this big light case. It's some cheesy plastic, and the things have screws. There's Phillips head screws. Don't buy one with the Phillips head screws. Buy one with the nuts. The Phillips head screw ones are junk. So this is an original tip. This is a homemade tip. They used to make these tips back in the 60s. This is what would come with your gun. And then in the 70s they started making these tips out of a square stock copper with a little heat ball on the front. And as you can see, these are the same gauge. This is a 12 gauge, and it's a little bit hard to compare a square stock to a round stock. Is the zoom gonna work? Just take my word for it, man. They're the same size. 12 gauge is what you want for one of these 100-watt guns. You could go up to 10 if that's what you have. You can probably find commonly a piece of junk Romex. I don't know, this might be like 20 feet, 15 feet. Yard sales, see if you can get a scrap at the store. You can get this. If you're doing this on a bigger gun, you're going to need a bigger wire. You're going to need to step it up to like 8 or 10 gauge. If you're doing this on like the 240, 325. So what you're going to want is a 5.5 inch piece. And you're going to want to cut the insulation off and not cut yourself. Real quick, when you're making this, you're going to want to clean off the copper. This is a brand new piece of wire. You're still going to want to clean it off. Can you see how this is nice and shiny and this is dull? You're going to want to clean off the copper oxide layer, or you're not going to be able to tin this properly. Then you're going to want to get this thing right in the middle, and you're going to bend it in half. And you don't have to use your grandfather's Kleins to do this, so any old set of pliers will work. Needle nose, multi-tool, whatever you got. You'll then end up with something that looks like this. Then you're going to pinch yourself a tip, and you'll be straightening out the upper piece of wire back down to the lower piece. You should be able to do that with your fingers. Make sure you get a nice pinch on your tip. Then all you have to do is come out a little bit, bend down and bend flat. Most crucial part about this is the width. Talking. So you can make this longer, shorter. The risk in doing this, why they say in the manual use only the Weller tip, is this size is calculated so that it will not damage the gun. If you make it a little bit longer, it's just going to take longer to heat up. What you run the risk of doing is making it too short, and it can overload this circuit if you're being a jerk and you are exceeding the duty cycle of the gun, which you could even do with a standard tip. So you can make it really pretty like this, make it look exactly like a factory tip, or you can make something like this that I just made, and that you can really see the copper oxide now. This is one I made maybe a month ago, and this is the one I made right now. I wiped it off with my steel wool so I can tin this tip. This is going to be just as functional as this. What you want, the point of this, is to just have a little pinch in the front to kind of emulate a heating spot. Doesn't have to be, like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty like this one. I made this one in like 45 seconds. This one took a couple of minutes to get it all perfect. But about 5.5 inches is the length that you want to make. The more detailed you are in your bending procedure is going to come out with a prettier finished product, but this will work equally as well. I'm not going to tell you how to put this on. If you're watching this video, you should know how to do that yourself.